What's going on, y'all? It's JD Pickell. Today on the Hard Count, Jordan Addison is officially in the transfer portal. Where will he go next? We will discuss. Welcome into CFB with JD, the People's Channel. Everything you know, everything you love about college football happens here, happens on a nearly daily basis. Armstrong Sims, Jack McKenzie doing the heavy lifting. Would encourage you to subscribe, help drive the channel at my Twitter page, at JD Pickell. Jordan Addison, his name is now officially cemented for the time being in the transfer portal. We discussed this last episode of how if he wanted to be in the portal, he had until May 1st to submit his name. He has obviously submitted his name. His name has now popped up into the system, and the race is on. The sweepstakes is on for Jordan Addison. If you've been living under a rock, Jordan Addison won the Blitnikoff a year ago. First-team All-American, had like 100 receptions. Quarterback goes to the draft. Receiver coach goes to Texas. A lot of things swirling around Jordan Addison's world. Also sounds like he wasn't happy with his NIL situation at Pitt, and we discussed our feelings about that last episode. Might do the same on this episode. But there's a lot of things as to why he's decided to leave, NIL being at the forefront. So where will he go next? Well, it sounds like USC was the most obvious option. It sounds like they were linked to some tampering allegations. Again, none of that's confirmed, none of that's official, but where there's smoke, there's usually fire. We're all adults here. We can all sort of deduce what 1 + 1 equals. So USC, they've been most connected. They have, according to Twitter, which is not super official, but again, based on what we can tell, they pitched a pretty big deal, somewhere in the range of $3 million and a Los Angeles home. Again, not confirmed, not factual. Where there's smoke, there's fire. They're willing to back up the Brinks trunk a little bit for Jordan Addison. Also a big thing, Caleb Williams is at USC, is a quarterback that could get the ball to Jordan Addison quite a bit. And I think that's one of the biggest components we're going to see of Jordan Addison's recruitment. If you don't have a guy that can get him the football, you don't have a chance at Jordan Addison. I don't care how much NIL money you're trying to get him. Because at the end of the day, NIL, big deal, yes. NFL, bigger deal, where the bigger money is coming from. So if you don't have a quarterback, like I said, you got problems. USC, they got a quarterback. They got the money. They got the exciting offense. They have things around Jordan Addison to assist him in becoming more successful in terms of other weapons to take the pressure off of him. USC makes a lot of sense. If I had to pick a horse in this race, I'm picking USC the entire way. We'll see what happens, but it feels a lot like Caleb Williams' recruitment where USC is the front runner. Everybody else gets thrown into the storyline vortex, and then USC ends up still being the team at the end of the day. We'll see. In terms of other teams, other players that have been linked to Jordan Addison, Miami, what feels like the NIL capital of the world as of late, is going to make a push for Jordan Addison. Mario Cristobal has that program on the rise. He's got a lot of things about Miami buzzing right now. There's a lot of NFL players that I'm sure are telling Jordan Addison, hey, you want to go play in the next level, you go to Miami under Coach Cristobal, and you're going to be just fine. Tyler Van Dyke, again, the quarterback. Tyler Van Dyke, a pro-style player. Anybody else see him throw deep balls last season? Anybody see him take a 3-step drop and just absolutely uncork it to Charleston Rambo last season? He can do that same thing for Jordan Addison. That would be a nasty combination. And you don't think Jordan Addison knows that? You better think twice. Because Tyler Van Dyke could end up being the deal that is sweeter than NIL. Could end up being the difference maker in this entire recruitment. So Miami, definitely a team to watch. And then similar to USC, if you're going to transfer somewhere from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you want to go transfer to Miami for your last year of college football? Go kick it on the beach, be in South Beach, rub shoulders with some millionaires, be a millionaire. Like, there's a lot of appealing things about Miami, not the least of which being the climate and the surrounding area. Texas is also a team that's getting mentioned right now. They're a high-octane offense. Steve Sarkisian runs a system that I think would allow Jordan Addison to be really successful. Quinn Ewers, upside seems to be the theme with him. If he ends up being the guy, which everyone and their mother believes he will be, you got to be excited about that. My concern with Texas is this. Based on the number of guys they've gotten from the portal, is there enough football to go around? If I'm Jordan Addison, I had 100 catches last year, having the equivalent of that feels like a stretch no matter where he goes. But you got Isaiah Nair, you got Jaleel Billingsley, you got Xavier Worthy, and you got Bijan Robinson, who's going to get his touches in the pass game as well. The benefit there is you got to account for all of them, so you can't double any one of them. But if you're Jordan Addison, you're going to see a little bit less of the football. I don't know if that's something that he's taking into account. I think it's something he should take into account, seeing as he wants to be a first-round pick. That's something to look at. The NIL piece, he's going to be able to knock out of the park in Austin. Like, that's just the bottom line. People that care about football have big money in Austin, and they're going to give a lot of it to Jordan Addison to come play at their school. That's the way that goes. Finally, the team that may end up being the dark horse and I think could ultimately land him outside of USC. Again, USC is my pick, but if there were a team outside of USC that I might take a closer look at, it's Alabama. And he's already been linked to training with Bryce Young in Los Angeles. Part of that's surprising, part of that's not, because Bryce Young's from the Southern California area. Jordan Addison was allegedly in Southern California this past weekend, so that's not super surprising, but the quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide is Bryce Young. And to be running routes on air with a guy who's a quarterback at a school you may go to, there's a little bit of smoke to that as well. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's just the way that this thing goes. So the pros, obviously, you play for the GOAT, Nick Saban. Play for the best college football coach of all time. A guy who literally just produces first-round draft picks. He has more first-round draft picks than he does losses at Alabama. 25 losses, 39 first-round picks. That is not a typo. That is not a stat that somebody manufactured out of thin air. That is unbelievable. And so if you're Jordan Addison, you say, I want to be a first-round pick. I want to have that in stone. I'm going to Alabama. That makes a lot of sense to me. Now, Alabama has been a little bit more to the vest about their NIL deals, but Nick Saban has let some things leak. And even before Bryce Young won the Heisman Trophy, he's saying, we got a quarterback who's flirting with a 7-figure NIL budget. That's a big deal. Similar to Texas. People in Tuscaloosa, Alabama care about their football. They're going to make sure the people on their football team are happy. Financially, that's a piece of a lot of players' happiness these days. That's just the way that it goes. Also got to look at Jamison Williams, transfer from Ohio State. Wasn't really getting as much burn at Ohio State because that wide receiver room was basically the Monstars with Chris Olave and Njigba and Wilson. And so Williams saw the writing on the wall and said, okay, I'm going to go to Alabama. Absolutely tore it up. Had 1 year, balled out of Alabama, was a first-round pick. That's, I think, the blueprint you look at if you're Jordan Addison. The only difference is Jordan Addison's a Biletnikoff Award winner. He doesn't have the things to prove that Jamison Williams did. So if you want to look at someone that you can essentially follow the track of, it's Jamison Williams. But again, Jordan Addison, different animal, but the same beast. If you've seen that commercial, you get the reference. But all that's to say, Alabama makes a ton of sense. They have another receiver from Georgia in Burton that just transferred there. So maybe that's something that you say, okay, is there enough football to go around again? But at the end of the day, you play at Alabama, you play well at Alabama, you become a first-round pick. So my money's on USC. If Alabama ends up getting him, I wouldn't be surprised necessarily. I would raise my eyebrows, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think Alabama's a very safe number 2 pick for Jordan Addison. All that to be said, dude's going to get paid, dude's going to go to the league, and will be an asset wherever he ends up. Let the games begin. Let the odds be ever in your favor. That's it for us here on The Hard Count. This is CFB with JD. We encourage you to subscribe. We do a video nearly every single day. Follow me on Twitter at JD Piquel to contribute to the conversation. We will keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.